Hello guys, welcome to another video in this course, and in this video I'll be taking you through the HTTP methods that we have. So yeah, what are HTTP methods? Or let us start with why are we dealing with HTTP methods in Express. So Express is like I explained at the beginning of this course, Express is a JavaScript package that we use to help us with building or writing server-side codes. And when we are dealing with server-side codes, as you've seen, we deal with things like client requests and also response. We manage client requests on our Express server. So these requests are actually made via an HTTP protocol, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And through this protocol, we are able to communicate to and from the internet. So we're able to communicate between the client and the server, and um, pretty much most communications on the internet. So these HTTP methods are used for accessing websites. Most websites out there are using the HTTP methods to communicate. So, or the HTTP protocols to communicate. So that's why we're dealing with HTTP in Express. So and Express is built pretty much on HTTP. So that's why we're treating HTTP methods in Express. So now, what are HTTP methods? HTTP methods actually are some rules or some means that we use to communicate with a server, or through which we communicate to our server. So, for example, I've been using the get method since the beginning of this course. So, this get method tells a server that we are listening for a get request, and as you've seen from the earlier part of this course, that we can make get requests from the search box in our browser. So we can pretty much make a get request from this place in our browser. So that's about the get request. Though we have more to it, we are going to review that. But I just want to explain what HTTP method is better before we go deeper into it. So HTTP methods are different kinds of ways that we can communicate with our server. So the get request tells the server, listen uh, for a get request, and a get request pretty much used to fetch resources. Now we have other methods too. These methods tells the server explicitly what the request is all about, what we're making requests for, or how to interpret or how to handle the request. That's pretty much what HTTP methods do for us. So I'm going to open up. I have a site open up here in my browser. RESTfulapi.net as an article or a guide to HTTP methods. So I'm going to leave a link to this website or web page in the description of this video. So do well to check it out. So we have different HTTP methods. We have here on this site, we have 5 listed. We still have up to 7, I think, 7 methods that we can use for HTTP to make HTTP requests. So the first one is the GET request, which we've been using from the beginning of this course, and it's used to retrieve uh, resources and information. So as you've seen, or like I explained, when you type a URL in this browser search box here, you are trying to fetch probably a website or a resource or an image or a file over the internet. So that is an example of what a GET request does. So typing this URL in your browser is also the same thing as you making a GET request to this server. So you're trying to get something, you're trying to get a result, a resource or a web page or a file, an image or whatever through the internet. So that is what an HTTP GET method is for. It's used to fetch or retrieve information. And we have different examples of how to make GET requests using the URL. And as you've seen in the um, earlier part of this course, that we can use route parameters and query parameters along with our GET request URLs. So That takes us to the next method that we have here, which is the post method. Now, the post method is quite different from the get HTTP get method. So the post method, or as I might say, post request, is actually used to create a new resource, and I find post method or post request useful in most cases. And pretty much I use the get and post request a lot, even out of all the five that we're treating here today. With most of you or me as a person, I use both the get and the post request a couple of times, even more than I use others. So I find both of them more useful. Now, the post request is a special kind of request that allows you to send a payload to the server. So you can send data or attach data to the body of your request and send it to the server. So you can use it to probably submit a form. You can use it for form upload or form submitting. You can use it for sending data like login details, for example. You can use it to also make an API request if you are also sending a payload to the API to maybe fetch some specific data or something like that. So a post request is very, very useful in this case. So that takes us to the next type of request that we have, or the next HTTP method that we have on the list, and that's the put method. Now, the put method is used to update an existing resource on a server. So the put request actually is looks more like the next one that we'll be looking at, which is the patch request. So the patch request also is used to make an update, but there's a slight difference between both of them. So we have the put method, which is used to update resource, and also the patch, which is also used to update a resource on the server. But the key difference, as it says in this documentation, is that the patch method is used for partially updating an existing resource, while the put is used for replacing a resource entirely on a server. So, and the last one that we'll be looking at today is the delete request. So, for the delete request, it's used to, or the delete method, HTTP delete method, it's used to delete resources on the server. So whenever you want to delete, you want to make a request to delete something, you use the delete method uh, to communicate with the server. So later in this course, I'm going to show you how to make these requests from your client side. We're going to build an application and make some of these requests on the client side. But in the next videos, I'll show you how to handle these requests, and we'll be testing. We're going to be testing this request or this endpoint with these various methods with a tool that I'm going to introduce you to also in the coming videos. So now, before I end this video, so these HTTP methods, like I said at the beginning of this video, are actually used to clarify or to tell our server what exactly our request is meant to do. So right now we have a get request, which, and as I've told you, get request is used to get resources or fetch resources from the server. So, and as you can see here, whenever we have a get request, we are either sending a response to the server or sending, probably as you see later on in this course, send an HTML file or a template file to the user, or render a front-end file to the user. So get request is pretty much for doing that, for fetching files. And if you have a post, put, patch, or delete request, that also will clarify things on your server to know what to do with each request. So if you have a delete request, then you know that you are to delete something, a resource. Probably you want to delete a user data, you want to delete a post from your database. So a delete request will help you to clarify that. So that's pretty much it about HTTP methods. And in the coming videos, we are going to take a look at the methods one after the other, and I'll see you in the next video. And before then, remember to leave a like to this video if you find it useful, and also subscribe to this channel if you've not done so. I'll catch you in the next video.